All right, it's finally here. I can say it's not a fight that a lot of people ask for. I don't really ever recall people saying like, yo, I want to see Vasyl Lomachenko versus Kambosos, George Kambosos, but here we are. Vasyl Lomachenko taking on George Kambosos this week, and it's going to be Saturday night here for us on ESPN, and over in Australia, Oceanic Territories, is going to be a Sunday afternoon card that's going to be on the 12th. TstreeT Controversy with Fight View 360 with my colleague Big J on the line. So we got a few topics here for you as Australian season, boxing season has really been kicking off. So on this video, we're going to talk about Jason Moloney losing to Yoshiki Takei. I know I'm probably butchering his name again. And Inoue is going to be taking on Sam Goodman sometime in September, October. Looks like Bob Arum is working on that. I got a clip here from Ben Damon we're going to play. And then we got Tszyu, who's going to be taking on Vergil Ortiz on August the 3rd as the co-feature, or well, I guess you should say the mega card of Terence Crawford versus Israil Madrimov. And then we're going to close the video out with Lomachenko versus Kambosos for the IBF, the vacant IBF title, 135 pounds, and the IBO title. So to jump right on into things, Jason Moloney fought over in Japan against Yoshiki Takei for the defending his WBO bantamweight title and lost a unanimous decision. This was on the undercard of Naoya Inoue versus Luis Nery, and which was a very exciting fight. In fact, a very good card overall. Just this Monday on ESPN right here, ESPN Plus right here now. It's 7:16 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, May the 8th. So as I'm looking at this, it was unanimous decision. Even though, you know, there was some controversy in the fight regarding low blows, which Big J is going to talk about. Right now, that 118-pound and 122-pound division are now controlled by the Japanese. For those who don't know, also, Manny Rodriguez lost his IBF title to a Ryusuke Nishida. So now you have WBC champion at 118, Gento Nakatani, WBA champion at 118, Takuma Inoue, the younger brother of Naoya. Nishida is the IBF, and now you have Takei, who is the WBO. So the question is now, what does Jason Moloney do? Because if he says, you know what, all right, I've been at 118 so long, it's time for me to move up. Well, guess what? He would run into, you know, Inoue again unless Inoue decides to move up to 126, which a lot of people are feeling he may do. But it looks like it's not going to be anytime soon, maybe not until sometime next year. So what are your thoughts on the fight? And we'll start there before we talk about what's possibly next.
Well, I mean, my thoughts on the fight is that how many times does one bloke have to get it in the balls before he gets disqualified? I mean, he hit him 4 times and then the ref took off a point in the second round. They hit him another 2 or 3 times. How many more times did he have to bloody ball shot him before the ref disqualified him? So that was, you know, really bullshit. But having said that, I'm a bit disappointed in Jason because old mate Gas, by the 10th round, he was literally stumbling all over the place. If Jason put the foot pedal to the metal, he would have got him out of there and he would have knocked him out and that would have been the end of it. But he left his run too late and he almost had him in the 12th round, but it was too little too late. I mean, this is why, you know, boxers that don't have one-punch knockout power, you know, don't succeed that well. I mean, that's what Jason needed to walk up to him and just beat the shit out of him. I mean, he didn't. He let him bank far too many rounds. I mean, by the 7th round, he was already up 5-2. Mm. So, and Jason, I think he respected his power a little bit too much. From what I saw, I mean, yeah, this guy was a
former kickboxer,
but he knocked out everyone he fought. But all those guys were bloody tomato cans that he fought. I mean, there wasn't anyone of note.
Yeah, and he knocked out everybody he fought except Jason. How about that?
Exactly. So, and he gassed. He was out of breath by the 10th round. He was fucked. So, Jason, you know, should have done what he did in the 12th round and the 10th, and he would have got him out of there. Mm-hmm. I have no doubt, but I just hope that he's got a rematch clause, because if he doesn't, then he ain't getting that belt back. That's for bloody sure.
Yeah, because the Japanese are all under the same banner, and they'll likely unify. They're all under the same banner, and they're going to have a little mini tournament.
Exactly. And that works out for Top Rank, because Top Rank now has a very strong stranglehold on the Japanese market, which they're getting 60,000. I mean, you saw the footage the other night.
Yeah.
60,000 people rocked up for the first fight.
Yeah.
The first fight.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, all 60,000 people were there, like no worries at all, mate. They all rocked up and they all sat through and watched every single fight, and you don't see that happening at it. Well, when's the last time America had 60,000 people at a fight? They don't, because Vegas venues and New York venues only hold 20 at best.
Yeah, how about
right?
that?
And when do you have, and that many people aren't rocking up for the prelims, so I'm sick and tired of everyone saying all these fighters need to go to America. Fuck,
Yeah, I'm going to
they
bring that up. Yeah, they don't.
The American dominance is dead. It is no longer. You can go to, how many people you think Fury and AJ would get in Wembley Stadium? 90,000 fucking people, no problem at all. You know, buddy, Japan is getting 60,000 people in their Superdome, right? Australia, we're getting 50,000 people in our stadiums. What the fuck do we need to go to bloody America for?
Yeah, the last time I believe, and you can correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments, guys, was that when Canelo fought, I believe it was Liam Smith was the closest we got. And Errol Spence also had something like 40,000. But him and Canelo were basically, I think Canelo was the closest to get to 60,000. And that was years and years ago for a stadium fight.
Where was that?
Texas.
Texas, yeah, okay, Texas, yeah, of course. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So, but the American domination is over, because now that the Saudis are coming along and making some big moves, and if I get to speak with Bob, I'll ask is he ever going to do business with those fellas. The American dominance is over. There's no need to come to America for any reason. But
yeah, and also the Japanese have something like 14 belts.
Yeah, they're doing quite well. But I mean, they've got a stranglehold on the 118 and the 122. I mean, obviously they don't get. Well, what's the heaviest Japanese go? 160. That's about. They don't get any heavier than that, do they?
Nah, I can't. I don't even know who it is at 160. The last big Japanese fight I remember was as we talked about.
That fought Tim Tszyu.
Yeah, and then before him was a guy by the name of Yoshihiro Kamagai.
What division was he?
He was 147, 154, but he went as far as 168.
Okay, yep. Yeah, well, you know, Japanese are traditionally smaller fellas, so they dominate.
Oh, they got a stranglehold on that division. So now the question is, I'm wondering, if it's not the rematch, like where does Jason go from here? Because when I'm looking at, well, for one, he doesn't want to run into Inoue again. Junto Nakatani, he can try. Well, I guess it all depends on if these guys are going to unify and try to do some type of super tournament. And I can see that happening at bantamweight, But in the meantime, I guess he could try to work his way back up to try to get a title shot. But one thing we talked about many times is the Maloneys can't say that Top Rank hasn't been giving them their push, because they've been getting their title shots and they've been in big events.
Absolutely.
Because even as I'm looking at the top guys in the division, there's still like a lot of Japanese, and I'm seeing some Thai and Filipino fighters. I can't normally I would be able to kind of like gauge on who could possibly be next, but right now as I'm looking, I can't say what can possibly be next for Jason Moloney. I guess the question is, is how he feels at the weight. That's what I want to know, and if he will be considering moving up.
Maybe if I get
positioning himself for a few fights at 122, maybe a couple or a few for when Inoue moves up and he could possibly capture a title at 122.
Well, if I get the chance to see him on Saturday at his brother's weigh-in, I'll ask the question.
Yeah, that'll be closing thoughts on Jason Moloney before we move on.
Well, I mean, disappointing he didn't win, but, it's not like he can't bounce back. Hopefully he's got a rematch clause, and if I get the chance, I'll ask him flat out. Mm-hmm. Hopefully there's a rematch there. If not, maybe he might move up to 122. I he's never had any problems making 118. He did fight at 122 at the start, then he dropped down, so maybe he might go back up. Who knows? But if I get the opportunity to speak to him over the weekend, I'll certainly ask those questions.
All right. Take your time out. Like the video, subscribe. You can follow me at TstreeT Controversy on Twitter and Big J at Old Mate Big J, all one word, on Twitter. On Monday, as we talked about, multi-division undisputed champion Naoya Inoue defeated Luis Nery in a very exciting fight in which Inoue went down for the first time in his career in round number 1, but ultimately went on to stop brutally Nery in round number 5, I believe it was. Six, I believe. And now...
Because he got knocked down in second and the fifth and the sixth.
Yeah, the second and the fifth, and then got stopped. And now you have Australian fighter who I've covered multiple times on the channel in the past. We've covered... Sam Goodman, who's now the mandatory, both for the IBF and the WBO. So we're going to listen to what he had to say after the fight to Ben Damon, and we're going to talk about what's next. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.
Well, Sam Goodman, you've just got in the ring there with Naoya Inoue after he beat Luis Nery. What are your feelings right now seeing that and hearing what he just said?
Look, I didn't understand a word he just said. It was all Japanese, but look, I've seen enough in the fight to know I can do what I need to do to win that fight. Look, it's a massive opportunity for me. It's something very exciting, and so I've been saying it for how long. I want world titles. He's got them all. I've got to fight him. So look, I've got to box my best, but I believe if I do it, I can beat this man.
What do you take out of the fact that he was dropped and looked to be hurt in that first round against Nery?
Just shows that everyone's human. At any given moment, anyone can beat anyone. And look, it's up to me to get that, to like I said, box the perfect fight and to really put it on him. And look, I've seen plenty in there to show that I can really push this guy and not just push him, beat him.
You've got the great promoter Bob Arum just getting out of the ring behind you, but the fact that he said to this arena here packed in Tokyo, Naoya Inoue, that he'd be happy to meet you in September. How does that make you feel?
Look, it's exciting, and it just goes to show it's possible. He's obviously been eyeing me off as well for some time. So look, I'm on his radar. Of course, he's on mine. He's got all the belts. Let's get it on.
Final words?
Let's get it on. Let's make it happen.
Sam, we have your numbers and everything, top rank. We have your numbers. Yeah, okay. Maybe we're looking to do a big fight for him September, October.
Speak to our team and we'll get something sorted. So let's speak to our team and let's get something sorted.
Yeah.
He's got
I like Sam Goodman. He surprised me with his performance over Miguel Flores and Raiz. TJ Doheny, Raiz Salim, and Miguel Flores. But I think this is a bridge too far. And I'm going to be very honest. He doesn't have nothing that I'm seeing that's going to keep Inoue from knocking him out.
Oh, I'd absolutely have to agree. I mean, Sam Goodman is this generation's Glenn Kelly or Alex Leopai. I'm sure you're familiar with both those two blokes, yes? Yeah, well, Glenn Kelly, for those who don't know, fought Roy Jones Jr. back in 2002 for all of Jonesy's belts. We had, 7 belts when he was light heavyweight champion? So, and Jonesy played with him for about 6 rounds and then knocked him out in the 7th. And then after that, Glenn Kelly really didn't do much. Got knocked out by Paul Briggs and also got knocked out got beat by David Hay when he was still a light heavyweight. So
yeah, and which Klitschko? And I can't believe it was so long ago. I covered that fight. Which Klitschko that Leopai lose to?
The main bloke, not Vitaly's brother,
Vladimir. There you go. Yep, I remember that.
But same story. I mean, that was his one and only big fight, and really didn't do anything after that. And to be honest, Sam Goodman's record is okay.
18-0 with 8 KOs, 3 solid wins against TJ Doheny, Raiz Salim, and Miguel Flores.
Yeah, bar those guys. I mean, the last guy he fought was a blown-up bantamweight, Mark Sleeps, who's a domestic level fighter at best, and it took him 4 rounds to get rid of him. So, and Inoue is going to absolutely murder this poor bastard, and I'm not going to enjoy it one little bit. It's going to be actually. This is leading a lamb to the slaughter. I mean, I feel sorry for him. He's got some balls on him to get in the ring with Inoue. You got to give him credit for that.
Yeah.
But as I said, I mean, it's not exactly a smart thing going up against the pound-for-pound fighter in the world, and your resume's not that great, and your record is, your knockout percentage is not that great. So it would have to be a repeat. I mean, a lot of people said it the other night when Inoue got knocked down. It's going to have to be a repeat of Buster Douglas, Mike Tyson for Sam Goodman to win.
Yeah, but where's that power going to come from? By the way, Inoue is 27-0 with 24 KOs. The last time he went the distance, and he still was against an old man Nonito Donaire. That in the first fight for the in the World Boxing Super Series, that was back in 2019. I covered that fight. And Donaire actually left some lasting damage on Inoue and put him out for nearly a year after he broke his orbital bone. So that was the most the most issues he had in the fight outside of course, being knocked down by Luis Neri. So, you got to have some type of power to do something to Inoue.
Exactly. I mean, Inouye's not invincible, but Sam Goodman just does not have the prowess or the resume or the ability to trouble him. I mean, I'll be very surprised if it goes past 4 rounds and Inoue's going to eat him for dinner. And I say that with no joy. I mean,
I can't see anything. Yeah, I can't see anything that he can do.
Well, if he survives 4 rounds, he'll be doing quite well, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I mean, obviously I want him to win.
But I remember a couple of years ago when Inoue fought Paul Butler, and Paul Butler was literally in there to survive until finally he couldn't move no more in 11 rounds, and Inoue caught up to him. I'm hoping that Goodman goes out on the shield and just doesn't run around for 12 rounds.
Well, personally, if I was him, I'd be fucking running the entire time, trying to not get my ass knocked out. So
yeah.
But anyway, good luck to him. You can only hope the best for him, but there's very, very high chance it's going to end pretty badly.
Yeah, and there's a high likelihood also that the fight is going to end up in Japan with all those fighters, with some of those fighters that we talked about earlier on the same card.
Well, that's exactly what's going to happen, and Sam doesn't care. He'll go to Japan. I mean, why not? From what I've been told, it's a bloody awesome trip. It's a great country. People are friendly, so why not go to Japan?
I've heard nothing but great things about Japan. Once again, take your time out, like the video, subscribe. On to the next topic. We haven't had a chance to talk about the big super fight coming up with Tszyu and Vergil Ortiz. Vergil Ortiz, his last fight, beating up literally a Uber driver and a blown up 100. I can't believe I'm saying this term, but yes, a blown up 140 pounder. In which they fought above the 154-pound limit into Tomás Delorme. Got him out of there in 1 round as he should have. And now he's going to be taking on Tszyu. And Tszyu is not going back after that WBO. And right now, he's a Saudi fighter, it's looking like. Your thoughts? I haven't got any thoughts on from you on that fight so far.
Yes, we have. We've talked about it before. So,
I mean, not in full detail, though.
No, I think it's a bullshit fight because I've said this before. Shit, I can't even think. What's his bloody name? The kid, Tim. It's just escaped me.
Vergil Ortiz.
What's his name? Vergil Ortiz Jr. is a blown-up welterweight who never fought for a title, never won one except that bullshit gold belt that he probably picked out of a Wheaties packet. All right. Never fought any champions for anything, never beat any former champions. His resume is full of tomato cans. There's no wonder he's knocked everyone out because they're all fucking shithouse. And now he's going to go up against arguably the number 1 guy in the division, in a division he's never fought. Tszyu is going to slaughter this fool. So anyone that thinks for a second that Vergil Ortiz has got any chance of beating Tszyu, you got rocks in your head. Tszyu will destroy this bugger.
I don't know, right? Steve. And that's where people are going to say you're underestimating the skill set of Vergil Ortiz. Despite the fact that, yes, he's a former 140-pounder. Dude is good. He doesn't have the rounds under him, especially the last couple of years. He's only fought 2 rounds. He doesn't have the rounds, the resume, the experience, or the bloody chutzpah to beat Tszyu. And here's the thing that Vergil Ortiz has never done. He's never been hit by a 154. Yeah.
That's the problem. This reminds me of Brock Jarvis. What happened to Brock Jarvis when he stepped up and took on Lampara?
Yeah, but that was a big. Yeah, but I'm telling you, Vergil Ortiz, he's good. But everything you're saying is valid about, the weight. This is his first time at 154. And for fans who don't understand, he may have fought above the 154-pound limit, but he hasn't fought at 154. And then the guys that he's fought at 154 or above are smaller, 100. For example, his first fight above the 147-pound limit was at 156 in his return January of this year against Frederick Lawson. Well, when you look at Frederick Lawson here, he is a 147-pounder also, fighting above the 154, basically not a big fighter. He's not a natural 154-pounder. And Tomas Delorme, as you can see as I'm pulling up his resume here, he's been stopped 4 times, including Vergil Ortiz, lost 7 times, 1 draw. And this is his first fight above 147 pounds, and it was at 56-pound catch weight. And leading into the fight, let's see here, as I have his resume pulled up, since 2017, Tomas Delorme is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He is 2, 4, and 1 leading into that fight. 2 wins, 4 losses, and 1 draw. So my personal opinion, I shitted on that fight before he got into the ring, and it was a fight that made no sense for Vergil Ortiz. It helps him in no way. But here's the thing: Vergil Ortiz or Tim Tszyu was not expecting the Saudis to call for this fight. Vergil Ortiz said, he got the call the fight week and said, "Listen, the money's there. Do you want to fight Tim Tszyu?" And the same for Tim Tszyu, and they said, "Sure, let's get it on." So now I'm wondering, what kind of money has the Saudis been offering for Tim Tszyu just to abandon his whole plan to try to go after that WBO to fight Vergil Ortiz in a fight where basically it's just a money fight. It doesn't lead anywhere.
Not for Tim. For Vergil it does. For Tim, it's nothing.
Well, yeah. Well, and also another thing, the WBA interim title is supposed to be on the line to make the winner the mandatory for the winner of Israil Madrimov and Terence Crawford, which is the main event.
Yeah, so, well, obviously there's that. So it's a little bit more than a money fight. You're going to get your shot at...
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Crawford Madrimov. Yeah, I forgot about that myself, so thanks for reminding us. But, I mean, let's look at the positives here. This is an opportunity for Vergil Ortiz to make a name at 154. It's an opportunity for Tim to derail the hype train that is Vergil Ortiz. The winner will most likely get Crawford, who's most likely to beat Madrimov. You know, Madrimov is no joke, but he's only had 9 fights. So how's he gonna...
Well, he has that strong amateur background, and it's the first time Crawford has fought somebody like this. But also, an interesting development that also may affect this fight. It is heavily... it's being talked about that the Saudi, the Turkey al-Sheikh, who's running Radia's season and putting all these fights together, he's trying to make Canelo versus Terence Crawford in December or January. So, you have that as well.
That's such a bullshit fight. I don't like it. Terence Crawford is too little to fight bloody Canelo. Too small.
Yeah, but it's still one of the biggest fights, you can make in the sport right now. So, let me say this. In a perfect boxing world, from my side, my opinion, you would have Terence Crawford, Madrimov, they fight, Terence Crawford wins. Then you would have Sebastian Fundora at the end of the year. Sebastian Fundora said on the broadcast of Canelo Munguia this weekend that he's planning on returning in December. By the way, you can tell that injury is legit because he had some significant swelling and both of his eyes were still black. As in the swelling from the broken nose went down. This was this past weekend. But in a perfect world, you would have Terence Crawford fight Sebastian Fundora if he wins to unify all 3 of those belts. Now, the way it's set up right now, and Crawford put it perfectly, is that he fights Madrimov. He's able to capture the WBA and the WBO interim title that's on the line. And then Fundora would have to fight Terence Crawford in December or vacate. And then Terence Crawford would have 2 belts right there. Fundora will only be left with the WBC. Now, it's no secret that Spence and PBC tried to pull a fast one on Tim Tszyu and on Terence Crawford and tried to jump the line to fight Sebastian Fundora. That's still a chance for us to see not Tszyu versus Spence versus Fedor for only that WBC title. And then the IBF, we're still waiting on what's going to happen with that. I've heard no news outside of the fact that Erickson Lubin is in line for that IBF title that Bakr and Murtazaliev has. So right now, Tim Tszyu would be able to capture that WBA interim. And I'm guessing, depending on what happens with Crawford and Canelo, I'm guessing we could possibly see if Tszyu beats Vergil Ortiz and Fedor decides to go the Spence route, we could see Tszyu versus Crawford in December or January of this year for the WBA and the full WBO title. So and Tim would be getting 2 paydays. So I kind of see where he's going. And also a part of me may feel that he may have a bad taste in his mouth from PBC, from what they tried to do.
I don't blame him if he did. I mean, the Saudis know, we've spoken about this before on the channel, that the biggest fight at 154 is Crawford versus Tszyu.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. That will generate more interest than Crawford Fendora. All right, and poor old Bakr Murtazaliev, no one really cares about him, even though he's got a belt. Someone will just fight him to take his belt off him. So
yeah,
it's that's the way the Saudis are going to probably want. That's why do you think they've got Tim and Crawford on the same card together? I mean,
yeah, man. That was already announced. I forgot where it was said. Is that's the plan for them to fight if they can't get Fedora?
Well, yeah, Blind Freddy can see that coming. So So it's pretty simple to see what the Saudis want, and by all accounts, and the fact that they have a lot of money to throw around, they'll get what they want. So and there's no bad side to a Crawford Tszyu fight at all. So that story's been writing itself for the last 5 years. Yeah. So there you go.
By the way, here's the card for those who don't know. You're going to have Andy Ruiz taking on Gerald Big Baby Miller, Andy Cruz taking on Antonio Moran, Isaac Cruz taking on Jose Rayo Venezuela, Vergil Ortiz Jr., Tim Tszyu, and David Morrell versus Hot Rod Kalajek. And, of course, the main event, Israil Madrimov versus Terence Crawford. It's going to be in the BMO Stadium in L.A. A stadium is going to seat about 25,000. It is a soccer stadium. It's going to be on August the 3rd, and it's likely going to be the DAZN pay-per-view here in the States. And, of course, main event's going to pick it up. To backtrack a little bit, I didn't talk about it, but this Loma Kambosos pay-per-view is $70. Is that the norm for you guys? That's not the norm.
Is that $70 for main event?
Yeah, they're charging $70, $69.95.
Oh, fuck off.
Look, I have it pulled up right here on the screen right now, $69.95.
Jeez, I got some bloody balls charging that.
Yeah. Closing thoughts on Tszyu versus Vergil Ortiz before we move on. And by the way, we're going to be providing full coverage for this fight. And with the way things are looking, I'm working on getting out there for fight week. So just stay tuned for that. Closing thoughts?
Tim will kick the shit out of him. So hopefully he'll put the hype train to rest and we'll move on to Crawford versus Tszyu.
Here's the thing. Vergil Ortiz does have the skill set, but as you brought up, I'm concerned about the lack of rounds he's had, the lack of experience, and also, it is his first full fight at 154 pounds. But however, his power is real. But will it carry up to fighting a full-fledged 154-pounder? That's the question right there. All right. Take your time out, like the video, subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at TstreeT Controversy, and Big J at Old Mate Big J, all one word, on Twitter. All right, so to the main card, we're talking about Loma versus Kambosos. As we talked about, it's going to be $69.95 on main event and KO Sports over in Australia on pay-per-view, as you can see right here. I can't believe that price myself, but there you go. That's George Kambosos bringing in the money. It's going to be here in the States on ESPN Plus, starting at 10 p.m. Eastern. ESPN and ESPN Plus, excuse me. And it's Lomachenko's first fight back since losing to Devin Haney last year in a fight that a lot of people felt that he won. Did you think that Loma won that fight?
Oh, yeah, I had him 7 rounds 5. Okay. So, yeah. I can't remember what rounds he won, but the general consensus was, and I agree, 7 rounds 5 to Loma. So I
think he let him. I think he let Devin Haney off the hook.
Yeah, I think so, but I thought Devin also got a gift decision there too.
And the same with Teofimo, he started too early. So, I'm wondering, Loma's 36 now. He turned 36 back in February. But in this day and age of modern medicine and technology and him not taking any real beatings, he took a beating from Orlando Salido, despite the fact that a lot of people felt he won that fight too. And then also Teofimo Lopez landed some hands on him. But for the most part, I guess you can somewhat consider him fresh, and I believe this is the first layoff he's had that hasn't involved COVID or any type of injury. So I'm wondering, if this is going to help him remain fresh. So before we talk about the fight, Loma is 17-3 with 11 KOs, and George Kambosos is 21-2 with 10 KOs. The problem I have with George Kambosos is all of his fights that he hasn't lost. He only lost to Devin Haney, those 2 fights, and those were shutouts, but they've all been either split decisions or a majority. For example, 2019, Mickey Bay, split decision. 2020, Lee Selby, split decision. Teofimo Lopez, split decision. Two unanimous decision losses to Devin Haney, and a majority decision win, and a lot of people felt was a robbery straight up. They felt he lost the fight against Maxie Hughes. So it's hard to really give him a chance from my side against Lomachenko with the skill set that he has. And I'm wondering if he's still stuck between styles. Like, what does Kambosos want to be? Does he want to be a boxer? Does he want to be a pressure fighter? He's called himself ferocious, but I got to be honest, going out there against Lomachenko, he's got to go out there and try to put a boot in Lomachenko's ass, just like we said against Devin Haney. But for some reason, I just don't think he's going to do it. Your thoughts?
Well, unfortunately, I agree with you, mate. He's got to be aggressive. George's key to success is to walk up to him and just gut shot him like bloody Tszyu did. Tszyu hit him so hard in the first 2 rounds, he actually lifted off the ground, and then Loma spent the next 6 rounds running from him.
Yes, he did.
So that's exactly what George has got to do to Loma, is gut shot him. Because remember, Loma is just a blown-up featherweight, and he's a very small lightweight.
And if you look at his body, he looks like he's a blown-up. Like, he doesn't look like he fits the 135-pound division.
No, he's a small guy. So George should just run up to him and just gut shot him. So that's what he needs. That's what he needs to do. I don't want to see George try this counter crap, because that doesn't work. That won't.
It ain't gonna work against Loma.
And remember, Loma's a southpaw, and George has only fought 2, and he did terribly.
Yeah.
So southpaws at the best of times are hard to deal with, even though most of the time they lead with their face.
Yeah.
George just needs to walk straight up to him and go, "Yeah, bugger." Do the same thing he did to Tszyu. Put him on his ass with the best right he's ever thrown in the first round. Don't fuck around. It's a fight. And Loma, if he makes a mistake, Loma will make him pay for it. Loma will not take this lightly.
Yeah, Loma has a history with all 3 of his with his previous 2 losses, to come back pretty aggressive after losing.
Yeah. So, but then again, I wonder how that Devin Haney loss affected him, because how did that affect his psyche? Affect his spirit?
Especially, I'll never forget they ended the broadcast with him crying his eyes out.
He's been running around Australia and Perth and going to zoos and hugging koalas and all that same stuff. Every celebrity that's never been here before, they do the same thing. They go to a zoo, they hug a koala, they pet a kangaroo, all that, Aussie stuff that we lot do every bloody day. All that tourism stuff that every tourist does. I'm just wondering, how. And as I said, I'll reserve my judgment for when I actually see him up close, depending on how close I get to him, of course. So I'll reserve my judgment when actually I see him, and I'll be able to figure him out pretty quick as to how he's going to go for this fight. So, obviously stats are way in Loma's favour. Stats are going against George in pretty much every way, shape, and form. George only has to hit him in the guts or hit him in the face once, sit him on his ass, and the whole trajectory of the fight changed. So,
I can't listen. I don't know. When was the last time George actually stunned? I mean, yeah, he beat up Tszyu. That's still a surprise to me. Had him battered, but I can't see him being able to drop or hurt Lomachenko. I just can't see it.
No, well, he has to prove it. Like Customato used to say, he has to prove it in the ring. It's as simple as that. I used to say that all the time. He has to prove it in the ring. So I'm just obviously I want George to win, but everything's in Loma's favour. But George has to prove it in the ring. If he pulls it off, let me ask you a question. If he pulls this off, would you reckon that would be the upset of the year so far?
Yeah, by far. Beating Lomachenko, yes. George Kambosos, yes, because this is a fight where, to be honest, like they're building this up to be big in Australia, but nobody in the States cares about this fight. I don't know. And Bob Arum, as we talked about many times, has had an obsession for this fight for years.
Yes, he has. He's been wanting this since 2019.
Yeah. He's had an obsession for this fight for years.
This was supposed to happen in 2020, but COVID came along and fucked it.
Yeah. So I don't know what Bob Arum sees in his fight, but for some reason he loves it. So, excuse me, as we talked about, Kambosos has to come out and be ferocious. He has to be the aggressor. He has to try to cloud Loma's space and keep him on the back foot. Not saying that Loma can't fight off the back foot, but I just don't like if he goes out there to try to box the first few rounds. We're going to see how this fight's going to go. And I'm going to be extremely disappointed.
Like Ryan did to Devin, you cannot outbox a boxer with that much skill. You need to walk up to them and smack the shit out of them.
Yeah.
Just like Ryan did to Haney, but then again, Ryan had 6 fights with Haney, so he already had his.
But also, he had the power, though. To keep Haney humble, because once he dropped Haney that one time, which a lot of people felt should have been a stoppage, Haney's whole demeanor changed. That power. As Mike Tyson said, once you get punched in the mouth, Yeah,
well, that's right. Everyone's got a plan until you get hit in the face.
Yeah.
It's not like George does not have power. He knocked Teofimo on his ass. So it's not like George does not have power in his hands. So I think it's going to be a very, very interesting fight, and I hope it's not lopsided. But I don't want George to box. He can't outbox these guys. These guys' IQs are just too good. He just needs the walls up there, and he needs to virtually be like a pub brawler. Just walk in there and go, screw this, bang. Just start rolling. Let his hands go. And as I said, go to the guts. The key to beating Loma is body shots. You've got to go to the body. So,
By the way, here's the way the 135-pound division stacks out. WBC champion is Shakur Stevenson, who's going to be returning on July the 6th. I'm also planning on going to that fight against Artem Horakyunyan. I covered that guy. I used to know how to pronounce his name when he fought Frank Martin. And Frank Martin didn't look that good in that fight. It's going to be on July the 6th. And just so happens, Tank Davis on June the 15th is going to be taking on Frank Martin for the WBA title. And Loma and Kambosos are fighting for the IBF title. And then you have Denis Baranchek and Emmanuel Navarrete fighting on the 18th next weekend for the WBO title. So it's expected for the winner to go on to face Shakur Stevenson or Emmanuel Navarrete, as Top Rank will have 3 belts, WBC, IBF, and WBO in their stables. So there's still big fights available for George Kambosos, but it's definitely a must-win for him, because if you really, really look at it, he could be, let's see here, 1-4 in his last 5 fights.
That's correct. If he wins, he definitely needs to go after the winner of the WBO belt. He needs to go after the WBO belt. I would be staying clear of Stevenson. I would be going after the WBO belt.
But also, I wonder what his contract is. In the division, I wonder, we know he's a DeBella fighter. I guess he's going to be staying there. I'm wondering, what's his plan, if he does lose? Because right now, he's going down as one of the, could you say arguably he's going to go down in this short period as one of the highest paid Australian boxers of all time?
Oh, that piece of piece. So, there's over the short period He would have made
since Teofimo, since 2021.
And since the 2 fights with Haney would have netted him anywhere between 8 and 15 mil. This fight would probably get him another 4 at least.
Yeah.
All right. So, but then again, I mean, Tszyu makes $2 million a fight plus, and he's been doing that since probably the Harrison fights. How many fights that? So it'd be between him and Tim. It would be pretty close.
See, I think what sets George apart is those two Haney fights. They gave him a big boost right there, especially that first one.
I mean, if you look at George has got the best resume of anyone in Australian boxing at the moment, bar none. Easy. Look at who he's fought.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean he's won, but he's got in the ring with them.
And
right?
you can count Lee Selby because Lee Selby was a quality name back then.
Yeah. And how many people? I mean, he got 42,000 people to one fight. Tim couldn't get that in 3 fights.
Yeah.
So numbers, he's up to what? 70,000, close to 70,000 people now for 3 fights in Australia, because he got 42 plus for the first fight. About how much does bloody Rod Laver hold again? 15 for the second. This is about the same. I think it holds the same amount of people.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say 30. So there's 70 plus thousand people to 3 fights in Australia.
Yeah.
Right. So and of course he's obviously making more money than everyone else because you're getting more people to rock up. Pay-per-view buys don't know about that. That's the only one where Tim would probably get him.
Yeah.
I don't know the pay-per-view revenue, and these blokes at main event flat out won't tell anyone what the pay-per-view buys are. It's not like in the States where you put it out there. It's like, this is how many buys of this. Good luck getting it off because they just flat out won't tell you. They're like, nah, we're not telling you.
Yeah.
So yeah, things work differently when it pay-per-view buys. They just won't tell you how many they're worth. So they'll give you
I'm picking Lomachenko.
I won't give you exact numbers.
I'm picking Lomachenko by decision, but I will not be surprised. I will not be surprised if Lomachenko were to stop Kambosos. I will not be surprised. I'm not saying he would, but I will not be surprised, especially now that like Kambosos. My concern is he's had these big paydays. He's going in there, as an underdog. And the question is, like, where is the motivation? Like, does he still have the motivation? That's what I'm interested to see.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, didn't Hagler say it's hard to get out of bed at 4?
Yeah, because I'm looking. He's probably cleared. He's got to have made since 2021.
10, easy.
At least,
10, easy.
Yeah. But I would say, definitely 15 after this fight. Maybe closer to 20.
Easy.
So go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just saying, that's exactly right. I mean, and he's barely 30 years old. I mean, God, if I was in his shoes, when I lose, I'd be like, bugger it. I'm young, I'm healthy, I'm wealthy. I can watch my kids go to school.
He's had a stadium fight, pay-per-view. He's got a huge upset over Teofimo that ain't never going to go nowhere, that has aged well.
Yep. And I'd be like, he ain't going to 140. He flat out ain't going there. He told me that a couple of years ago. He ain't going to 140. He's not big enough to go 140. So. Yeah,
but who knows now? For one, those 140s are big. We already seen that against some. They're big. But who knows? I mean, now, but, after a while, he's been fighting this division so long, how are those camps going,
Yeah, well, yeah. I always have a concern that he overtrains because every time you see the bugger, he's always training. In the gym. I'm just thinking, like, is he going to burn himself?
And you never see him blow up in weight. He's always the same size.
Exactly. He's always on weight. I mean, this bugger probably walks around at 145.
Yeah.
So, he's always on weight, but, he's a happy-go-lucky fella. I mean, he's just a natural lightweight. It's as simple as that. He's just a natural lightweight. So,
frame and everything. He just looks like he just belongs there.
Exactly. So he doesn't want to go anywhere. He doesn't need to. I mean, if he wins, he'll go after WBO, and let Tank and Shakira kick the shit out of each other. I think Tank would win that, and then go after Tank. So,
well,
that would be the way. That would be the way I'd see it.
On to the undercard. You're going to have Andrew Moloney taking on Pedro Guevara for the WBC interim super flyweight title. You're going to have Nene Hughes taking on Cherneka Johnson for the WBA bantamweight title. Joseph Goodall taking on Django Opelu. And how do you pronounce his name? Hemi Ahoya?
Yeah.
Taking on Lucas Browne. So far, you do have. I'm for some reason, I'm still interested in seeing Lucas Browne fights. I do not know why. But let's talk about Nene Hughes versus Cherneka Johnson. This was a fight where it was kind of. I mean, we saw it coming. Shockingly, how did it go again? Wasn't Nene Hughes offered the Ebony Bridges fight, and who turned it down? I forgot how that went.
I can't remember, but I think maybe Hughesy. One of them turned it down. It might have been Hughesy, but I think it was
the notice, right? It was something about short notice or something.
Yeah, no, that's right. Ebony was going to have her OnlyFans pillow fight with Avril Matthew, the other Australian girl.
Got you.
Right. Matthew pulled out. They offered to fight to Hughesy.
Mm-hmm.
Hughesy said, "No, it's not enough time," which I'm betting she regretted that now because she'd probably have 2 belts now.
Yeah.
Then the Japanese girl stepped up, kicked the shit out of Ebony. We're still cheering about that. And, now Hughesy is fighting Cherneka after Cherneka got beat quite convincingly by Ellie Scottney. Who she got 2 belts now. Didn't she win the WBO belt the other day? Pretty sure she did.
I'm not sure. Let me check. It's a good question.
I'm pretty sure she had the unification belt and won WBO. Well, she had a defense. I'm pretty sure she did.
I think. Oh yeah, she got the IBF and the WBO. How about that?
Yeah. And so, considering the fact that Lou represents both Cherneka and Nina, it didn't take a moron to figure out that this was going to happen. So, yeah, I mean, we saw that coming a mile away. The second I saw that Nina Hughes signed with Lou DiBella, I rung you and said, "I bet."
Yeah, we saw that coming. That made the most sense.
She's going to fight Cherneka on the undercard of Kambosos Loma. We all saw it coming. So, but anyway, yeah, that's the background story to that event.
So how do you see this fight going? I'm surprised. I didn't know Nene Hughes was 41 years old.
Oh yeah. I hope Nina beats Cherneka, but yeah, I mean, I can't support anyone that does that OnlyFans stuff. I can't, not in any way, shape, or form. If they're doing it, I know it's a legitimate sports thing or something, but if it's the other content, I cannot support that. So, yeah, I'm going for Hughes. So that's that's my view on it.
So wait, hold on. I'm trying to figure this out because you have Dina Thorslund. This 122? What division is this? Because you have
No, this is bantamweight 118. Dina Thorslund has the other 3 belts.
Got you.
And yeah, no, does she have one of the
WBC?
Does she have all 3? WBC. Doesn't she have 2 belts, Dina Thorslund?
WBC and the WBO.
Thought so, yeah. Who's the IBF champ?
That's what I'm trying to find right now. Yeah. I believe it's this Mexican girl. I'm looking for it right now.
The Japanese girl, the one that kicked the shit out of Ebony, is the IBF champ.
Got you. Okay.
Yep. So what will happen is that Nina will hopefully beat Cherneka. Nina will probably fight the Japanese girl, and then the winner of that will fight Dina Thorslund. I mean, no doubt in my mind, Dina Thorslund beats a lot of them because she's a friggin' beast. You've ever seen her fight? Yeah. She doesn't fuck around. That's the way it's going to go, and Thorslund will beat a lot of them.
Mayo Yoshida, the girl who beat Ebony Bridges December of last year, 17-4. She has the IDF. Dina Thorslund has the WBC and the WBO, and Nene Hughes and Cherneka Johnson are fighting for the WBA. So, it only makes sense for them to go for a unification. Yoshida also she's now a New York fighter, and I'm wondering, I believe she is a DiBella fighter.
And if she is, then you know exactly what's going to happen after this fight.
Yeah, because let's see here.
Yeah, didn't she get snapped up by someone? Was it DiBella after the fight?
Yeah. She's a DiBella fighter.
Well, you know exactly what's going to happen after this, don't you?
Yeah, there you go.
So the winner of this will fight the Japanese lady, And the winner of that will fight Dina Thor, if they can get hold of her, because politically she's extremely hard to get hold of.
That's what it seems like. Yeah, they've been building her up.
And she doesn't fight outside of Denmark or
she
anywhere
does not
outside
at all.
of Europe.
I noticed that because Eddie Hearn's been trying to get her. For years now.
Unsuccessfully.
Yeah, unsuccessfully. On to the next fight. Now, Andrew, this guy Pedro Guevara, I haven't seen him. He fought Carlos Cabzas. Okay, he lost that fight. He's 41-4-1 with 22 KOs. But he fought Kenshiro Teraji. He's a champion, one of the Japanese champions we talked about earlier, at 108. That was back in 2017. He fought John Real Casimero. So the guys that he's lost to are all well-known fighters. But he does have some power to him. I don't know how to gauge this fight for Andrew, but one thing for sure is it's a must-win for him because he was a notch below Jason when it comes to like staying relevant in the division that he's in. He did have that club show against Judy Flores. Before that, he lost Junto Nakatani a year ago in May of last year. What do you think about this fight? I don't know how it's going to go, to be very honest, but also I don't have too much faith in Andrew.
No, I think Andrew will get him. He'll be right. So
hopefully.
Spoke to him earlier today. He'll be right. I said, look, mate, just walk in there and gut shot the shit out of him. He'll be right.
Yeah, it's going to be for the interim title.
Who's the champion? Who's the champ at 115?
Yeah, let me look at it right now.
Is it still Strada? Or,
Strada and Bam Rodriguez are going to be fighting.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So there you go. Well, that's not going to go. Let's see how Andrew looks, but I'm not picking Andrew to beat any of them. Kazuto Ioka, WBA champion, also Japanese fighter. Fernando Martinez, the IBF, and Kosi Tanaka, WBL. So the Japanese have two belts in the 15-pound division as well.
Yeah. As I said, the Japanese have a very strong hold of those
three divisions, 115, 118, and 122.
I'm not surprised by that at all. Not surprised by that.
And then they have two belts at 108. So, yeah. So, shout out to Andrew. I'm going to be paying attention closely to this fight. But remember, also, these brothers are 33 years old. And Andrew, I guess you can say both of them have been battle tested because Andrew's got those three fights with Franco, and then that fight against Junto Nakatani. And Nakatani's just huge. And then Norberto Jimenez. So, solid resume. But right now, this Pedro Guevara guy, I'm guessing he was brought over here or in Australia to be a tough fight, Mexican style fight for Andrew. But I don't know, when it comes to those Mexican fighters, there's always a question mark around them. You never know how they're going to show up.
Yeah, I think he's a replacement fighter because I don't think that was.
It wasn't. I remember we talked about that before. I forgot who it was before.
Yeah, no, I've forgotten either. But yeah, he's a replacement fighter. So.
Mm-hmm. And what's the other fight you're looking forward to? What about this Opelu Goodall fight? What's the deal with that? It's supposed to be a fan-friendly fight?
Well, we've covered both those boys on the channel before. Both boys have fought Justice Herney. Both boys obviously lost, I think.
And I covered Goodall versus F.A. Jog, but that was his last fight.
Poor bugger got knocked out, 4 rounds or something like that?
Yeah, it didn't really seem like he wanted to fight. He didn't really seem there, like present.
No, that's right. But Django Opelu, obviously, all these heavyweights support each other. He fought Lucas Browne, went down to him in 7. I don't think Brownie and Justice Goodall fought each other yet.
No, yeah.
But I think Goodall, just because of size, because Django Opelu is a very, very tiny heavyweight. He's only about 5'10". He's not very tall at all. He's a very small heavyweight, and he's not even 100 kilo. I think he goes about 215, maybe 215 pounds. So he's a very
222. He's got that Tua build. Well, Tua was about 5'9".
Yeah. Well, he's about the same as David Tua. He's about the same.
Yeah, got that. Yeah, he's 222. He was 215 when he fought Joe Parker.
So, yeah, I mean, and I think because Goodall's like, what, 6'5" and like 240, I think just the size and
a
weight
32-42. Yeah, that's a big size difference. Sheesh.
Yeah, I think it's probably going to go the same way. Well, yeah, I think Goodall will have the advantage unless Opelu goes for the body and then as he drops his head, goes for the uppercut. I think Goodall will use his size and his reach to his full advantage. So I'd have to go Goodall with that one.
And Lucas Browne is still kicking about. He is, since that big upset over Junior Fa stopping him in one, he has lost his last two fights, both in Dubai against Jail Big Baby Miller, who's taking on Andy Ruiz August the 3rd, by the way, on that Vergil Ortiz Tim Tszyu card, and Crawford versus Madrimov. And then he fought a Mark Petrovsky, who was undefeated, also in Dubai, where he was stopped in 4. So once again, we've talked about Lucas Browne. You know, he's old. You know, he's probably got maybe a couple more fights left. Who knows? This may be it right here if he loses. 45 years old, and you never know what guy's going to show up. You just never know.
I'm surprised he's still fighting now because I thought after
I'm surprised they gave him a chance. You read about that?
Yeah, I'm surprised after the Russian and Dubai. I'm like, oh, Lucas, please give it away. Then he fought Baby Miller. I'm like, oh God. And he's been. Did he get stopped by Big Baby Miller? I think he did.
Yes, he did. Yeah, I remember that. He got stopped in round number 6. It was a nasty fight. I watched that fight.
Yeah, like,
both of them just big slobs. Slow.
Yeah, like, Lucas, please, mate. We don't want to see you get hurt. I like Lucas Browne. I met him. He's a fucking sweetheart.
Yeah, I've chatted with him before. I've always liked Lucas Browne. I've covered his fights. For some reason, I keep getting attracted to this dude's fights.
I think because he's just such a genuinely nice bloke. That's why. So, he really is. I look forward to speaking to him again tomorrow at the press conference.
But who knows? You never know. You know, he's got the power. He can knock your ass out. With his 31 wins, 27 of them are by knockout. He's not taking you to the distance. He's going to knock you out.
Yeah, someone's getting their ass knocked out. That's for sure. But you know what? I reckon Lucas will just get that lucky punch in and knock old mate out. So I'll go Lucas, bugger it. So,
all right, since we're,
I don't want to see Lucas because those knockouts, they pile up and then brain damage, and you don't want to see that shit happen to any bull bugger. I mean,
no, you don't.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and
all of his 5 defeats have come by knockout.
Exactly. I mean, bar Lucas losing to Paul Gallen, what's he really done? So, I mean, I don't want to see him get hurt. So I want to see him be healthy. And hopefully if he does lose, it's like, give it away, mate, because I don't want him to just end up being a cat-of-fodder punching bag for these young blokes. So he deserves better than that. So, but anyway.
All right, closing thoughts on the card?
No, looking forward to it. I'm on the plane in literally, takes off at 6 or 8 hours, so I'll be dragging my ass up in 4 hours to drive to the airport to get there. So, it's going to be a very, very busy few days.
Yeah, and we will be here streaming the press conference, which is going to be, it's 8:12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's going to be in about 14 hours, 15 minutes from when I'm looking at it. It's going to be 10:30 p.m. Eastern on the Top Rank YouTube page, on the Facebook page for Main Event and Top Rank, and of course we're going to be streaming it here. Also, we're going to be here doing Fight Night covering these cards, and Big J's going to be providing updates from the arena, and then we're going to be here after for a post-fight show. So for the last 4 weeks now, we've done a late night post-fight show on all of our big boxing events. So if you want to, if you're going to be up, for Australian boxing fans, you're going to be up. But yeah, we're going to be here after the fight, covering the post-fight press conference and covering the fight. By the way, one last question. I'm looking here. This event is co-promoted by No Limit Boxing. I'm guessing it's because No Limit has the rights to pay-per-views over on Main Event. I'm guessing that's the only reason why they're getting a cut of this event.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because of this exclusive deal with Fox Sports, No Limit has to be part, because No Limit would be providing all the broadcasts and all that sort of stuff. Fox Sports will be providing all the cameras and all that sort of stuff. So,
but they just got to get their cut because they have that exclusive agreement for any fights that happen over in Australia on Main Event Fox.
That's exactly right. And I better mention this before she gets angry. Susie Ramadan had a fight over the weekend, and she got a 4-round TKO in Texas against, I do not know who. I
Yeah,
can't
that crept
remember
up
the
over
girl's
here.
name. Yeah, did you know about? I didn't even know about that.
Nope,
You know
I would
that?
normally see something, but no, I didn't. I didn't notice until you told me. Then I saw like a clip of the weigh-in because she's on our social media. Let me show you real quick who she fought. Pull it up on the screen here. It was a Judette Hatchbold. It was in the Humboldt Civic Center, and I've never even. That is a small little club show. Well, she's staying active.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how the hell she ended up on there in Texas of all places.
Yeah, it was a bit of a surprise to me too. But had a Texas, so she's back in the country now. So
Okay.
she said, "You need to give me a plug." I'm like, "Yeah, okay." So giving her the plug.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
And I'm guessing she'll
She's
probably
keeping busy?
be at the event. I'm guessing.
Nah, I spoke to her. She says, "Nah, she's not going." I spoke
Gotcha.
to her the other day. She said, "Nah, she's not going." But hopefully, because Shannon O'Connell's fighting this weekend as well in the club show in Brisbane. And
Okay.
if there's any justice, these girls will get their retirement massive payday, and they can sail off to the sunset because both ladies are in their 40s. What more could they possibly do? So
Okay.
I just hope that the powers to be decide, yep, bugger it, we'll give Susie and Shannon their retirement fight, throw them $100,000 each, and tell them to go home. So
Okay. Well,
hopefully it'll happen.
with that being said, thanks for watching. Please subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at TstreeT Controversy and Big J at Old Make Big J. Be sure to check the channel throughout the rest of the week, as we will be providing full coverage for Lomachenko versus Kambosos. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.